welcome to the virtual supplier forum for 2021. My name is Brett Blackman, Operations Manager for Noble Drilling. I'd like to talk with you about a few items today, but first, I'd like to get started with a safety moment. The world has changed along with the way we interact in it, hence the virtual supplier forum. I would like to thank the CLVD for hosting this virtual platform so that we can stay connected while staying safe. As we endeavor to continue our daily activities, please protect your health, the health of your community, your colleagues, and family by following measures put in place to slow the spread. Noble's proactive style of management has guided it from a one-rig operation established in 1921. The company's growth since the time of its spinoff from Noble affiliates in 1985 has come about through a series of strategic acquisitions of offshore drilling assets and now owns and operates one of the most modern, versatile, and technically advanced fleets in the offshore drilling industry. Our business strategy focuses on a balanced, high-specification fleet of both floating and jackup rigs and the development of our drilling rigs in established and emerging offshore oil and gas basins around the world. We emphasize safe operations, environmental stewardship, and superior performance through a structured management system, the employment of qualified, well-trained crews, the care of our surroundings and neighboring communities where we operate, and other activities advancing our environmental sustainability, social responsibility, and good. We also manage rig operating costs through the implementation and continuous improvement of innovative systems and processes, which include the use of data analytics and predictive maintenance technology. Our deep environmental commitment is to protect our world and its resources in a manner led by our mission and core values. With our experience and procedural discipline, we're able to operate with excellence, delivering efficient and reliable services for the benefit of our customers as well as our community, which includes everyone from our investors to our workers to the communities where we live and operate. Operating our business in a socially responsible way is fundamental to who we are and reflected in our core values of safety, environmental stewardship, honesty and integrity, respect, and performance. Externally, our dedication is evidenced by our affiliations and how we contribute and invest in the communities where we operate. Internally, our employee-focused programs such as training and continuous education, PATH, which is our promotion and advancement through hard work, diversity, equity, inclusion, are key to our commitment to create opportunities for personnel and professional planning and growth. We maintain a strong corporate governance with high ethical standards. We govern with transparency and accountability, fostering a culture of integrity that guides our decision-making. Our robust governance policies and practices enable us to operate efficiently and sustainably while mitigating risk. We believe that a strong corporate governance is high ethical standards are essential to maintaining our high performance, achieving our goals, and maintaining the trust of our investors, employers, customers, and stakeholders. The Noble Bob Douglas was the first vessel to arrive in Guyana March of 2018 and was followed by the Noble Tom Madden later that year in October. The demand continued to expand. The Noble Don Taylor arrived a little over a year later in November of 2019. The Noble Sam Croft is planned to join operations in Guyana following the conclusion of operations in neighboring Suriname. These four DNV class drill ships are Gusto P10,000 rig designs built in South Korea and delivered in 2013 and 2014. Capable of drilling wells in depths of 40,000 feet and water depths of 12,000 feet. These ships are over 750 feet in length and capable of housing 210 people. The hook load of the main hoist is 2.5 million pounds. The ships stay on location through the use of dynamic positioning system, controlling 6 5,000 kilowatt Rolls-Royce thrusters. All this powered by 6 7,600 kilowatt engine generator sets. Each vessel is equipped with 2 BOPs. Equipment is brought on board and moved around the deck with one of 3 100 deck cranes or 165-ton active heave compensated crane capable of putting equipment on the seafloor. In the tendering process consists of publishing expressions of interest, and local newspapers with the Center of Local Business Development for new upcoming services, contracting opportunities, and the contracting period. Following the closing of the EOI, Noble will publish a request for proposal for those respondents with sufficient information in the EOI to provide an adequate quote. Where applicable, Noble may approve more than one supplier to fill the requirements, allowing for an opportunity for competitive bidding and sourcing with a growing local market. As a general practice, it is the company's policy to deal with major, reputable, and financially sound vendors. Smaller vendors could be used on the basis of significant savings, quality of goods, delivery schedule, or proprietary products. Noble will continue to focus on consideration for Guyanese owned, registered in Guyana vendors as value add for Noble and positive impact to the local community. In closing, Noble is more than just the rigs we own and operate. The way we do business is just as important. At Noble, our values and culture define who we are, both individually and as an organization, and direct our activities every day. Thank you for your time, and look forward to seeing you at the virtual supplier forum. Until then, stay safe and stay healthy.
The Center for Local Business Development Supplier Forum. This is the Q&A session with Noble Drilling. And for everybody to know, the session's being recorded, and everybody needs to ask questions in the question and answer box to the side, and I'll read the questions to Brett and Petrula, that they go through them. My name's Patrick Henry. I'm with the Center for Local Business Development. I'll ask Brett and Petrula to introduce themselves, and then we'll get started with the Q&A. So as people keep asking them, the questions will keep going. So I'll turn it over to you, Brett, to introduce yourself, Petrula, and say a bit about Noble, and then I'll get the first question going. You're on mute.
All right, now, hello, my name is Brett Blackman, Operations Manager for Noble Drilling in Guyana. My history with Noble is in the recent past. Was excited to be the drilling superintendent for the first Noble vessel that arrived in Guyana, the Noble Bob Douglas. So my time operating in Guyana has been a great time, and I look forward to many more years to come and forming some partnership and doing business here. And look forward to some good questions today and getting some feedback out to the industry. So with that, I'll hand it over to Petrula.
Thank you, Brett. Good afternoon. I'm Petrula Gonzalez-Yan. I am the Personnel Administrator at Noble Drilling Guyana. I have joined the team in 2020, April of 2020. And although it's been a trying 2020, Noble has been able to welcome me with open arms to the team, as well as I look forward to answering as much questions as possible as we can. And would like to thank the Center for Business, the CLBD, for providing us with an opportunity to meet with the vendors.
Now I was on mute. Thanks a lot, Brett, Petrula. If you guys could just, I know that in day one session that was recorded, you explained a bit about what Noble does in detail. If you could just, give us the quick overview of where Noble fits in the project, and the quick overview of your procurement processes, that'd be great, just so everybody understands, and then we'll get into the questions.
Sure. So Noble Drilling is an offshore drilling contractor. We work many places around the world. We have a fleet of floating assets, drill ships, and semi-submersible, as well as jackups. So So in Guyana, currently we have 3 drill ships, adding a 4th here in the near future when the Sam Croft wraps up operations in neighboring Suriname, and we'll be making way to Guyana in the near future. So as far as our procurement process, of course, as discussed in the pre-recorded presentation, there you can review that. But in general, for local services, we'll start with an expression of interest, either through the CLBD as well as advertised in local literature there, and as responses come back to that, those that have provided sufficient information will be reached out to for a proposal, a bid proposal. So once that bid proposal is received, we'll review those, and if all is in order and it is something that we'd like to move ahead with, then we'll start the vendor setup process and register the vendor at that point. So then after that, of course, as goods and services are required, there would be a purchase order process that would be followed for the particular good or service.
Great. There were a series of questions that got emailed in before the event, so I'm going to start with those. The first question is, do you have a need for helicopter transportation services? If so, when will you begin conversations with potential operators?
So currently our offshore transportation services are provided by our client. So we have not seen a need for that at this point. Of course, if we do in the future, for some reason, do foresee a need for that service, we'd be advertising it through our normal channels.
Great. The next question is, do you think the existing NDE inspection providers in Guyana have the capability to support your current growth trajectory and upcoming projects? Why or why not?
So the services that we've been able to find locally have met our need, and though there's not a lot of demand for what we're doing in Georgetown, there are multiple providers, and yes, I would venture to say that the need is being met and will be able to be sustained going forward.
Great. There's a question for your pumping services handling crude oil or its derivative products. Did you specify API 610 or API 676 standards?
So I know that we're a drilling rig, and our goal is to get to the reservoir. But as a drilling contractor, our goal is to keep that reservoir in its place. So the pumping of the crude oil and would be handled by a connection to an FPSO, which is outside of our scope. So.
Okay, great. There's a question about how to get in touch with Noble if someone wants to include any of your technical staff in a series of online talks. I think that's the easiest way to frame the question.
So I'm not exactly sure what kind of online talks they'd be referring to, but certainly you can contact our office, and they would be able to put whoever that is in touch with the appropriate person. So through, of course, our website. So
great. And then there's a general question about what new projects are you developing, and where the engineering will be done and procured from for those projects?
So again, that's a pretty broad question. I'll try to frame it in what I think is going, or where I think it's going. So we're contracted for drilling services, and the engineering is typically completed by our client, and we execute that plan. For instance, we're involved in the Liza 1 and Liza 2 development, and we provide the drilling contracting services to support our client in that work. So
great. And just in general for everybody on the forum, if you have questions, please type them in the question and answer box, and I'll read them accordingly. We're just going through a series of questions that got sent in prior to the time. The next question is, are you doing your procurements for goods, pumping equipment, tube and pipe fitting, spares, instrumentation, maintenance products through your Guyana offices?
So the way our supply chain group is set up, we handle a lot of the material logistics in country. But as far as procurement goes, actual issuing of purchase orders and vendor setup, it's done through our corporate office. So in Sugar Land, Texas, just outside of Houston. And a lot of times those can be supported through our local office there, but the actual issuing of purchase orders is done from a central location. Doesn't matter where we're coming from in the world. So
okay. There's the next first question from the group is, are there opportunities for environmental consultants to support any permitting of projects or sampling or monitoring or assistance that you guys might need?
So currently, any of the services that we've needed have been included as part of the service that we contract locally. So to this point, no need. But again, if there was a need that arose, we would advertise it through the center and then through our normal channels. Mm-hmm.
Great, thanks. Are there any plans to do any servicing of the drill rigs in Guyana, or while they're docked in Guyana, to do anything like the recertification of safety valves, is the question.
So I'll break that into a couple of responses.
Okay, great.
First, the ships are classed DNV class vessels, and to maintain that certificate, we do class inspections. So where we are in our inspection cycle, we'll be doing what's called a UWILD, so which is an inspection in lieu of actually going to a dry dock or going to a dock. So likely that will be conducted on board. Now, the second part of that question was around safety valves, which I'll address separately. So we do recertification of those valves. Typically, we maintain an inventory of those valves, and so that we can just replace them and then recertify them offline. So that is something that we do on I'll say a routine basis. Yes.
Okay, great. Yeah, the same question. Will Noble be retendering catering and housekeeping services for any of their rigs offshore in Guyana?
So we're not solicited. So we're of course we're growing our fleet, and of course that always has us looking at options, but currently we're not tendering that service out at the moment. So.
And then there's kind of a similar question along those lines of, do you already have a provider for catering and housekeeping. They also ask separately if you have a food supplier, and if they then, is there a way that companies in Guyana could be linked to that if it's not directly a Noble contract, to that kind of subcontractor to you guys?
Sure. The catering services that we've contracted does include the supply of food, and I would encourage you just to continue to look for that advertisement through the center, and as those services are tendered, I'm sure there would be an opportunity to provide those services in that through the center or through the local media there.
Sure. Are there any opportunities for certified machining and fabrication services that Noble might use in Guyana? Any upcoming tendering opportunities or areas of work that you might see as an opportunity for a local company?
Sure. So for a drilling contractor, our biggest machining and service would be for drill pipe inspections and repairs. We have seen that there are a couple of companies in Guyana that have partnered with or brought in the capability of providing those services. So very encouraged to see that capability growing in Guyana, and look forward to working with the vendors that are capable and providing or procuring those services locally.
Great. Then there's a question of, do you have a CCU supplier in Guyana? If not, are you going to tender that out, or is there a way that a company could talk to Noble about that opportunity?
So currently there are a couple of providers that we work with, and I assume that CCU meaning cargo carrying units to package.
That's what I'm guessing.
Yeah, to package equipment going offshore. So yes, there are currently a couple of providers that we work with, and that of course does fall into the competitive bid market there. So.
Okay. Then any need for conducting water quality sampling or sediment water quality sampling for Noble? Any support needed for the provision of ROVs?
So currently no need on our behalf, and yeah, no direct need for ROV services under our current contract. So
okay. There's also a kind of a question about, do you have a requirement for processed water treatment chemicals in your operations? So I don't know if that's for the wells or if that's for on board your vessels, for drinking water that you're making.
Yeah, I think well, certainly for the production that does fall outside of our scope, and
Okay.
For our chemical requirements on board, yeah, we would be tendering those out through our normal channels.
Okay, perfect.
Through vendors that are already currently set up, or if that need can't be met, we would go back out for an EOI.
Then there's a question here. Let me try to. Okay, so it's around. I'll ask the question for him this way. It's around. Are you as Noble finding problems with your local suppliers having problems getting VAT or duty-free exemption letters for you and increasing their costs, or is that something you haven't seen as a problem?
So let's see, how to frame the answer. Yeah, so when we put things out for bid, even within our currently approved vendors, it is competitive, right? So if it is economical, makes economical sense for us to procure those items locally for whatever reason, we would do so. But if it is economical for us to bring those goods or services in, then that's what we would do. Now, saying that, it doesn't mean that we're always going to go with the cheapest, right? There's other factors into the value that we would get for that good or service. So.
Okay, and have you found that local bids are coming in higher based on kind of the VAT or duty issue, or has that not been a problem for you guys?
So it is a consideration. We're looking at the end cost for us, whatever that may be. So in some cases, if the local supplier does have to include that in their tender, it would be included in our analysis. So.
Okay, I have a very specific paint question for you. It's are there specific paints that you require by brand or by piece of equipment or by specification that if somebody is a paint or a coating supplier that they would be able to access so they know what to offer you guys?
Yes, we do have some very particular paint standards, and yeah, as part of an EOI, we could share what those requirements would be. Yes.
Okay, so that would all come at the EOI stage.
Correct. Or maybe beyond the DOI into the request for proposal stage.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. For a specialized service and product company having the experience in inspection, survey, rig intake, rig certification, DNV class inspection, et cetera, how can a company get in touch with Noble Drilling to arrange a meeting or let you know their capacities?
Again, contact through our website, www.noblecorp.com, and you can ask for our supply chain department, or you can or just call us, and our receptionist can get you in touch with the right person.
Okay, excellent. And for everybody on the Q&A session, in Noble's presentation on Monday, there was detailed information about how to contact them in those slides, so you can go there to look at those things. Will you guys be looking to tender for tubular services?
For tubular services, meaning I would assume drill pipe and tubular inspections and repairs.
That's what I'm gonna guess.
Yep. So through the companies that are capable of providing those services and are reputable and financially sound, yes, we would be looking to bid those services.
Okay. The CCU question earlier is, how do they register directly with you guys to provide those services or make a pitch to you?
So I think that's I would have to go back to the following the process through the EOI, through the request for a proposal and then vendor setup and potentially work through that channel. So. Okay.
Then there's a question about, I think this is what this question is how does Noble view a Guyanese company with an international partner providing you guys support? So in the sense of, I'm going to extrapolate here, is that situation you like when there's a local company upskilling with an international partner? And then from a bidding perspective, how do you like to see that presented so that it makes sense to you guys, that there's a level of comfort with that?
Yeah, absolutely. Partnering a reputable local supplier with some skills from the industry of outside of the country, I think is a wonderful thing and a great way to build capacity in Guyana. So certainly very encouraged by that, and it can be presented in a couple of different ways. Certainly willing to work through how that service can be provided through the local company. So yeah, no, it's certainly encouraging I certainly would encourage bringing in those expertise where it makes sense, and partnering locally. So
sure. Somebody just wants a clarification. If you procure any of the commodities for drilling in mud, or you guys are just the drilling ship provider? Drilling.
Yeah, we're the drilling contractor. Mud services are typically provided by our clients. Yeah.
Okay. If somebody has equipment for solid control services to enhance your drilling services, how do they explore that opportunity with Noble?
Again, I think it would be reaching out through our supply chain group, through our website. Then they can direct us, or direct to the right person within the company. Currently the cuttings handling equipment is provided by our client through some of the other vendors you'll have on the calls over the past couple of days or coming days. So
okay. Is there any need for media and communication services from Noble Drilling at this time?
Well, I don't know how we're doing on the call today, but there may be a better speaker than me. But so currently no, we're haven't had a need to this point. But if we did need a face, we would certainly reach out for that in the local community. So
okay. Is it possible to gain registration with Noble to participate in future chemical supply tenders bids if somebody missed the EOI that had been out?
Yes, I would say that an unsolicited proposal wouldn't be turned away. But again, that would be through our supply chain group.
Okay. Somebody's asking that they have not seen any tenders or EOIs from Noble for freight forwarding, customs brokerage, or manpower services. Will any of that be coming out soon or not?
So we did a lot of that work when we first came into the country. In our current base of registered suppliers are meeting our need, as well as maintaining the competitive market. So again, it's certainly not a closed group, but and willing to listen to any proposals that are out there. So
okay. There's a question about your invoice cycle or your payment terms. Does Noble have a 30 or 60-day invoice cycle?
So that's all agreed to as part of our vendor setup process. So the terms are no different anywhere in the world, and are agreed in that during that process. So
okay, so you don't have a standard payment term. It's negotiated at the time of the contract.
Well, we do have a standard payment term, and it's agreed in that contract. To be honest, I don't know exactly what it is, so I'll just say that it's part of that process. So
Okay.
yeah.
Then there's a question. Do you currently have any opportunities or may have in the future for HVAC drafting services?
I'm not sure. As far as drafting, meaning like producing drawings, drafting?
Unless they write a follow-up question, I don't know if they mean
Okay.
drawing or if they mean, I wouldn't know what else they mean.
Okay.
I'm going to guess drawing.
Okay. So currently, our ship's drawings are produced by our internal engineering department. So currently, no need for external services.
Okay. Let's give everybody a second or two to see. I have a few other questions I can ask, but I'll make sure the participants have a second. Okay. Then, do you have any idea of your kind of next set of EOIs or that are going to come out in coming months? Your kind of procurement forecast?
So of course, as more services become available in Guyana, we would, as we hear about those things through our normal channels, we would continue to expand those services. Let me check here real quick. Yes, our local supply chain, our local materials manager, John Duff, is on the line here. John, would you be able to discuss some of the things, or Petrula, would you be able to discuss some of the things that we'd be looking for in the coming time?
I think that question John would be a little more helpful with by providing that. John?
John may not be able to hear us. Petrula, you had the local content plan. Can you just read off a couple of the items there that we looked at for the coming year? And just for reference, we did put in our presentation a list of those items that for reference. So sorry, Petrula, go ahead.
All right, just give me a second. All right, for the list of anticipated goods and services we're looking to procure in 2021. The list will include personal logistics, accommodations, catering, P&P clothing and safety supplies, valves and fittings, electrical commodities, hose fittings, grease and lubricants, rigging and lifting equipment, industrial hardware, tools and consumables, equipment inspections and repairs, the certification of DBI and sealer blocks, the certification of gas detectors. This would also include structural steel, pipe and fittings, communication equipment, combined annual inspection surveys, and equipment inspections and repairs.
Okay. Bill, that's a pretty good list. I also think that was in your presentation, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, so I think if people are interested in what's upcoming next or what's next, posted on the website for the Guyana Supplier Forum is a video specifically from Noble. You can watch that video. I think towards the end of that video is their procurement needs for the 2021. So folks can look at that and get that information there. So you can go back to the website and find that out. Then there's a question about a company that is a joint or a venture between a Guyanese and a U.S. company. And they want to know where they should access Noble from. Should they work out of your office in Texas to understand the capabilities here in Guyana, or should they work with your office in Guyana to understand what's capable? I think they're just trying to figure out, now that they're a combined company, what's the best way to approach you guys for work in Guyana.
Yeah, so all of our services are, like I mentioned previously, once the vendor set up, all of the purchase order process is through our Sugar Land office, but the need is local. So if there are goods and services, it would be driven from it would be driven by the local need. So understanding the local capability would be an important part of that process. So,
okay. And there's kind of another ROV question, but since they've added a little bit to it, they're asking any ROV work in class inspection, spud can cleaning. If yes, who do they liaise with?
So our current fleet in Guyana doesn't have the spud cans. Those are more to the jackup fleet. So there's currently not a need for the ROV service for the inspection of legs or spud cans.
Okay, excellent. Approximately how long are your activities going to continue in Guyana, operating drill ships there?
I hope for a very long time. So for that bit of information, again, you can refer to our website under our fleet description. There's under our investor relations tab, there's a fleet status report, which would tell you how long we're currently contracted in country for, as well as the contract of all of our other vessels. So,
okay, great. Do you request a particular hose fitting brand?
So that's a very big question. We have hoses of all kinds on board, and anywhere from the cement hoses to our Kelly hoses to the individual hose for a piece of hydraulic equipment. So we do have certain specifications that need to be met for each one of those things. So there is not a single brand of hose that covers all of those requirements. So
okay, I think then the person asked a follow-up question about is it more based on certificate of compliance versus a brand?
It would be, yeah, to meet whatever the particular requirement is. Yes, more than just a brand, right?
Okay. Okay, perfect. Make sure how satisfied are you guys with the current stock of accommodations? And if you had a wish list of what you'd like for accommodations, what might companies be shooting for to get Noble's business?
First, for us as a drilling contractor, our accommodation typically means moving our offshore crews through town so that they can either travel to the drill ship offshore or on their route home. Unfortunately, due to the current times and restrictions in place, we're not currently using the accommodations that we typically would, just because of the isolation requirements due to the pandemic that the world is going through. But look forward to that being behind us, hopefully sooner rather than later. So the services we would be looking for would typically be a one night a stay through an accommodation, and with that, a comfortable place to stay, maybe some forms of entertainment and ability to have a decent meal. So yeah. So hopefully when the world opens back up and we can move about like we used to, those things will be available. Yeah.
Okay, excellent. And for the companies that have bid on work, do you have any recommendations for them about ways they can improve the bids or the pricing that they've done? I mean, has there been anything that sticks out to you that if a Guyanese company understood it, they'd have a better chance at winning work with Noble?
Our tendering process, we want to be ethical and make sure everyone has an equal opportunity. When considering tenders, we consider it at face value and know that the tender that you submit won't be shared with any of the competing bids. So we don't provide feedback concerning other vendors that have submitted any kind of tender. So the voice that we have is where we award the work. So to maintain the integrity of our system and respect for those that are submitting tenders. So
okay. Let me ask the question this way: what the Guyanese companies that have won work with Noble, kind of what's stood out with you that they've done to be able to initially win a contract, and then hopefully a lot of them expanded work and have continued working with you guys since you've been there and brought in more drill ships. What's kept them within Noble's supply chain?
So I'll say that one, there have been some creative ways to meet the requirements, which is very encouraging. What keeps a supplier working is providing quality service, right? That's adding value to both Noble and the company doing work, meeting the obligations that set forth in that agreement, and then of course exploring ways to add value to both organizations and continuing that relationship and hopefully expanding both Noble's business by adding more assets to the area and increasing the amount of local supply when it makes sense.
And kind of over Noble's time in Guyana, what are the kind of biggest change in the local suppliers you've seen? Are there services that have come in that weren't here in 2017, or have there been companies that have invested and upskilled? Kind of what's your view of the change of what's been occurring in Guyana?
So certainly there are more, I'll say, oil field specific products becoming available through partnerships with companies outside of Guyana. In particular, as a drilling contractor, one of our biggest services is tubular inspection and repairs, and we have seen that there are some partnerships and in some cases some local suppliers bringing those either bringing those services in or upskilling the workforce to be able to provide those services. So it is certainly a growing and an emerging market. So.
And since you guys are both operating in Guyana and Suriname, have you used any of your Guyanese suppliers for some of the work, your campaign in Suriname, or is that not anything that's occurred for you guys? You guys are straddling the bit a bit, two places a bit.
Yep. So our work in Suriname, our operators, their logistics base is out of Trinidad. So that's where most of the services have been run through. So.
Okay. I think just for the Guyanese companies trying to see that market opportunity, and I think there's a few questions around how they start accessing that. So.
Sure. Well, good work in Guyana is a good start.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't look like. Let me check here. Making sure I got through these. Okay. Then it doesn't seem like we have any questions from outside. So what I'll do is ask you guys to, wrap up a bit of anything you'd like to say or impart for the Guyanese suppliers, and that way we can see if there's one or two more questions left. Oh, nope. I got one for you. How do you manage crewing of foreign personnel from where are you bringing crew at this moment?
So as far as crewing, our much like our purchasing group, our HR department is centralized in our Sugar Land office. International crews are run through that department, and of course Noble works all around the world. So we have many different nationalities that as these ships have transited around the world and our other operations in the world, are going up and down. We share that workforce among the fleet. So it is quite a mix of nationalities on board.
Okay.
As far as movement of those personnel, it's in today's times it's challenging, but we have a process that's worked through our clients. So.
Okay. And then somebody just asked, do you onboard suppliers? They're asking after the awarding of a contract. I'm going to say probably after the EOI stage. Is that when you would, for the actual invitation to tender stage? When do you onboard suppliers, or do you onboard them all the time and go that way?
So it's there is no exclusion window of time. We can onboard vendors at any point in time. So, but typically for a new service in country, we would follow the EOI process, and once there's a request for proposal, typically once those have been vetted through, a vendor would then be set up. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But any last words or advice for the suppliers in Guyana? Anything you'd like to let people know?
Well, certainly excited to be in Guyana. And I tell you, the vendors and a lot of our workforce that we've been able to introduce to the industry, certainly a very exciting and lots of opportunities. So I would encourage to continue to explore ways to partner with and bring in expertise from specifically the oil and gas industry into Guyana. And we would certainly look forward to hearing about some of those partnerships and how we can create value together.
Great. Thanks a lot, Brett, Petrula, John. Sorry we couldn't get you on the call, but I appreciate Noble being part of this, and thanks for taking the time to answer everybody's questions. As I said before, session's recorded. Noble's presentation from the first part of the supplier forum is up on the website. We'll edit these questions down and post the audio of that too, so people can listen to them again if they need clarification. But thank you guys for participating, and thanks to all the participants for logging in. And this will wrap up day 4 for us, and we'll have 3 more Q&A sessions tomorrow. So thanks everybody for participating, and thanks a lot to Noble.
Thank you. Stay safe and stay healthy.
You too.